So we need to do one last festival edition video for the playlist this fall. This is the height of what's called the fall festivals. And so you have 3 festivals that hit right in a row, and then you kind of go into this lull with Hanukkah in the middle, and you come out of that with the spring festivals, and you have festivals kind of like bang, 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 right again, Passover and unleavened bread, first fruits, and Shavuot, Festival of Weeks. And so you have a fall chunk and a spring chunk. And it's time to do our last fall festival video. And a lot of you have talked about, like in the comment, this is a part of a larger playlist. So you might be seeing this video in isolation, but if you're on this YouTube channel, on my channel, you can actually find the playlist on my channel that's called Festival Edition. And you can go back to whatever it was, 3 or 4 years ago, when we started some of these conversations, and watch that playlist from the beginning. A lot of comments will say things like, I want to start learning about these festivals, or I wish I could find out more, or any of those things. And we've chatted about that in a lot of those past videos. So I'm not spending time for the last year or two doing a whole lot of explanation of, like, the breadth of what we do or what that holiday practice or observance looks like. And so feel free to go back and refresh your memory. The festival under conversation for this video is Sukkot. Sukkot, which is the Festival of Tabernacles. That's what Sukkot is. Sukkot is the plural of sukkah. So a sukkah is a tent, a tabernacle, a shelter. And so Sukkot is plural. Tabernacles, shelters, tents, booths, people will say. So this is a Festival of Tabernacles. And we've done videos. I think 2 or 3 years ago, we did a video of what that looks like for my family. We don't make an actual rabbinical sukkah. A lot of people do. Maybe one year we will, and maybe we'll start doing it forever. Who knows? What we've done for years now is we will set up our camping tent. And we'll set it up outside if the weather is good. We'll set it up down in the basement if the weather is not good. And usually in North America, the weather is not good enough that we put it up down in our basement. And for 7 days, for 7 nights, 8 days, 7 nights, we sleep in the tent. We try to eat in the tent. We try to talk in the tent, and do as much as we can in the tent. The idea, like biblically speaking, the idea of Sukkot and going out and leaving your home and living in these shelters is to remind yourself, according to the biblical narrator, to remind yourself of the time that you spent, the Jewish people spent living in the desert. And remember how God led you out of Egypt in the Exodus and took care of you for 40 years in the wilderness. So it's supposed to remind you of that. Another one of the things that we do is we read the Song of Moses, Deuteronomy chapter 32. We read the Song of Moses every single night of Sukkot. There are some other rabbinical readings that happen during Sukkot. There are some other things that can be done. Some people will read the entire book of Deuteronomy over the course of Sukkot. So there's all kinds of different things that can be done. But our family likes to stay in a tent. We'll usually cook a few good meals. We'll throw a party on the front end. We'll throw a party on the back end. We'll splurge a little bit more than usual on that week. And that's often what we do. We read the Song of Moses. That's the essence. And we talk about the story of God's people. And oftentimes we'll watch videos. Rabbi Foreman at Aleph Betas, obviously one of my favorite teachers. You hear me talk about him all the time. And in the last couple of years, I feel like what I've done is I've tried to dig into like the depth of the rabbinical teaching of these festivals. Like I was really sharing, like, when you look at the Song of Moses and what you're looking at through Sukkot, what is some of the deeper rabbinical wisdom that you get to glean and learn during the holidays? And we'll do that as a family too. This year, what I'm doing for my holiday videos is trying to back away from the complex literary analysis, rabbinical wisdom, and this year just say, hey, what is the simple practice? What's the simple practice that our family enjoys, that does all these like wonderful, like it's just this little simple thing with huge benefit, something small with significant fruit. And so we did that. We talked about that with Yom Teruah and just dipping apples in honey and the simple practice of gratitude. We talked about whatever it was last week or a couple weeks ago. We talked about Yom Kippur and the practice of tashlich and repentance and confession. These are not crazy in-depth principles. These are simple practices that have huge implications and have meant a lot to our family. I have been just racking my brain this week trying to figure out what I was going to do for the video. What am I going to say about Sukkot? Like, what is there to say? What's the simple practice? And I didn't feel the same way. Like, I felt like with Yom Teruah, I felt like with the high holidays, with Yom Kippur, I feel like the practice and the takeaway and the profound nature of that is super easy to talk about. With this festival, what's the deep, profound takeaway? I can tell you this. I can tell you that there have been seasons and years where my son will say this is his favorite festival. And so I was trying to get at the bottom of that. I was trying to figure it. So I asked Zeke, I asked Abby, I asked my kids, I asked my wife, like, what are the things that you enjoy? What are the things that you enjoy about Sukkot? What are the big takeaways? Just trying to see what and they kept circling back to, I enjoy sleeping, even as I get older. You know, my kids are teenagers now. I enjoy having a week where we all stay in a tent together. That's fun. I just enjoy, and it really revolved around being in the sukkah, being in the tent, sleeping there, communing there, talking there, having the dog down in the tent with it was really a lot of, and part of me was like, oh man, there's no like big spiritual takeaway. Like it's just a bunch of fun that we have when we stay in the tent. I mean, are we even thinking about, we talk about it, but how much do we even truly reflect on the time that we spent in the desert, how God provided for his people in the wilderness? How much does the Song of Moses, it doesn't seem to have the same ring to it as, say, dipping the apples in honey on Yom Teruah, or confession and repentance at Yom Kippur. Like, it seems to be, I mean, I want to use the word shallow, and that's when it kind of struck me. And not that there's anything profound here, but what struck me is how much goodness there is just in the fact that there's a practice, a spiritual practice, like a liturgical, calendar-oriented celebration in the name of God that my family, my children, my wife associate with positive memories. Like, they look forward to it. It's fun. One of our family values that we talk about with our family, and I'll share that I'll do that in a future video. We'll do a Meet the Solomons video. We'll talk about our values. But one of the values that we have is we create memories. And here's this festival where we create memories. And I may be tempted to be discouraged that we're not being spiritual enough. We're not reflecting enough. We're not getting enough out of this. We're being distracted by the fun. And then, see, that's where it gets me. It's like, oh no, we're being distracted by the fun in the name of God. You know, like, what a beautiful gift. What a beautiful gift. Like, we grow up in a world. We live in a world, and as children, we grow up in a world where usually church is associated with like less than compelling practices, kind of bored, like not fun, not positive. I mean, there are moments. I'm not trying to be, but But I realized like there's something to be said about observing something that creates a reinforced positive experience. Because here's the thing. Maybe I'm not getting anything out of, like, anything super deep and profound out of this year's observance. And maybe we'll even go through seasons. Maybe my kids will go through their whole adolescence without ever really connecting like deep, meaningful dots, but they'll connect just enough dots to where sometime later in life, we have planted the seeds, we have cultivated the soil, and something will take root because of all the work. You see, I realized something as I thought about this video. I view everything very transactionally. Like, did I do enough here, and did I get anything out of it? Like, there's like this transaction, this spiritual transaction. I do a spiritual practice and I get spiritual fruit. Like, did it work? Was it good or was it bad? Was it a pass or was it a fail? Was it, you know what I mean? And I think our spiritual walk, it is a bunch of transactional moments, and those things are true, but even more true than that is this larger ocean that we're swimming in, this larger field that we're cultivating. And I may not necessarily, harvest the fruit in this transaction, in this year, in this decade. But I found myself giving thanks, again, a whole season of gratitude, a whole fall festival of gratitude and thankfulness. I found myself giving thanks for the fact that there's a positive experience with positive memories where God's planting seeds that I don't even see or I don't even understand, but the conditions are right for something to take root when God so chooses. And I think I underestimate that. I don't know. I would bet many of you do as well. So I just thought I would issue that as an invitation for a Sukkot reflection. Maybe it feels like shallow faithfulness. And I'm not talking about Sukkot. Like, that's just what it is for us. Your Sukkot experience might be wildly different, but maybe there are parts of your life that are similar to this, is what I'm getting at. Maybe there are parts of your life where it's like, I do this and it's good, but I feel like it could be better. And maybe it even could be better, but it is what it is for now. And even shallow faithfulness is a part of a larger process that God uses to grow deep roots. Shallow faithfulness and deep roots. So I don't know. I don't know if that's an encouragement to you. It was to me, and that was good enough. So I share that with you this year as you think about Sukkot, as you think about your own. I mean, what do we have coming up? We have I don't know. Some of you have Halloween right around the corner. My family doesn't do Halloween, but some of you might have Halloween right around. We have Thanksgiving right around the corner. We had the season of Advent. All of these are full of opportunities, positive experiences, positive family traditions, positive things, maybe even that at times feel shallow, like they could be deeper. They're lacking some depth. And don't underestimate, don't rule that out. Don't judge it as bad. Don't judge it as a failure simply because you think it could have been a bigger success. Let it be the success that it is, because that's setting us up for something else. And who knows what that will be. All right. There you go. There's my Sukkot meditation for this year. Be encouraged and hug Samyach.